Welcome all. Welcome to this new presentation. Here we are going to discuss the project life cycle of any project. Okay, we are going to take an example of oil and gas sector. So we'll try to discuss all the different phases and stages of a project life cycle. So first of all, we are going to understand what are various phases of the project, then what are various stages of the project, then how we are going to identify various phases with respect to stages. Okay, then just to understand more in detail, we'll try to cover different phases with respect to what are their purpose. Each and every stage has its own purpose. We'll try to discuss what is the purpose and what are the various deliverables we are going to get from each and every stage or each and every phase of the project, and who is going to perform those activities. In most of the cases, few phases are done by client itself, by owner, company or contractor or subcontractor. That kind of things we'll try to cover in this presentation. So let us see what is project life cycle. What are various phases? Okay, in any of the project, not only oil and gas, in any of the project there will be few phases. For example, initiation, then planning and execution, then closure. These are the four steps which each and every project has to go through. Okay, in initiation, what is happening? Process is performed to define a new project or a phase. Okay, even if in a single phase of the project, all these four steps will be performed. We'll go in detail in each and everything, but in initiation we are going to define the processes. In planning, what we are going to see, we are going to establish the scope of the project and define the course of action, okay, required to meet the objectives of the project. So we need to know what are our objectives and how much we are going to cover. So that is covered during planning section. In execution, the complete work, whatever we define, we do it actually. So along with this planning and execution, monitoring and controlling will always be there. So without monitoring we cannot execute, we cannot plan, we cannot close all these things. So what is monitoring? Monitoring is tracking, review and regulate the progress and performance of the project, identify corrective action if required. So we need to keep on monitoring each and every step. If any corrective action is required, we have to list it down and we have to implement that also. So once planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, this phase is over, then we enter into the closure phase where we finalize all the activities across all the process groups to formally close the project or any phase. Okay, so these are the four steps which are required broadly in any of the project life cycle. Okay, now let us relate all these things with respect to oil and gas project, and let us establish how we are going to cover all these four phases. For example, we are now listing down all the stages in a typical oil and gas project. Okay, first of all, there will be a feasibility check. Each and every step we will discuss in detail now. First, let us look at how we are going to break it down into further levels. Feasibility check, conceptual design, pre-feed, okay, preliminary, front end engineering design phase, then front end engineering design phase, then detailed design phase, procurement cycle. Okay, we'll go into detail for both of these phases. Fabrication and construction phase, erection and installation, pre-commissioning, commissioning phase, startup phase. Okay, up to this phase, this whole cycle we'll try to cover now. Now let us first divide these 11 steps into four broad phases. Okay, like we have discussed in the previous slide. Initiation, then planning, execution along with controlling and monitoring, then closure. Okay, all these 11 stages we have divided further into four broad parts. Now initiation, feasibility check and conceptual design. Okay, this will be covered under this section. Now planning and execution, where everything will be done like pre-feed, feed, detailed design, then procurement cycle, fabrication construction phase, erection and installation, everything will be covered under this section. Then closure, we are trying to cover pre-commissioning and commissioning phase in closure only. Okay, so this will be covered under closure section. So now you can see all these stages can be divided into four broad categories. each broad category is a typical phase of any of the project life cycle. So this is a broad category for oil and gas project also. These are the various stages which we are going to discuss now in detail under each phase. Okay, so we'll try to cover all these things one by one. First we'll try to start with initiation phase. If you see this whole cycle, we have discussed initiation, planning, execution, closure. Okay, in initiation what we are going to do, we are identifying or we are going to define processes which are going to cover in the project. So feasibility check and conceptual design are the two stages which we are going to cover in initiation phase. So this is our phase, first phase, initial phase. We are going to cover two stages here, feasibility check and conceptual design. Now what is the purpose of doing each and every stage? Feasibility check, why we are going to do it, what we are going to get it, who is going to do it? These three questions we will give the answer here. Now what is the purpose? Process of validating the idea. Okay, this is what we are doing in the feasibility check. This is very tough phase and most of the time it is done by the company or owner himself. What we are going to get out of this analysis, feasibility check, we are going to get the economical feasibility, legal feasibility, operational feasibility and scheduling feasibility. Okay, for example, suppose a client is there, company is there, they are deciding to get a gas plant. Now what they have to do, they have to check whether is it economically feasible. They need to check what are the output products, what are the various output products, what are their market prices, what are the raw material, how much is the operational cost, how much will be the profit. So all those economical feasibility checks will be done in this phase only. Legal feasibility, whether it is allowed in a particular country or particular region, or they have to move it outside country or maybe outer part of the country. So all those things, legal feasibilities, they have to check. Okay, operational feasibility, once they set up a plant, whether they are going to operate it, how much capability they already have, how much they have to increase, how they are going to operate, how they are going to issue the, how they are going to manage the issues. Okay, so everything they have to check. Scheduling feasibility, whether if it is closed within 2 years, then it is feasible, or maybe after 5 years also the returns are okay. So all those feasibility checks they have to do in the initial phase. Once these are done, they get a green signal ki okay, this is economically feasible, legally feasible, operationally they can manage, scheduling okay, 1 year extra is invested, then also this is profitable, then these checks are cleared. So this is how feasibility check is done, and it is done mostly by company or owner himself, and we are going to validate the idea, whether our idea of putting a gas plant is feasible or not. Then second one, also part of initiation, that is conceptual design. We evaluate the best possible design, variables and operating conditions, keeping in mind the maximum profit of the organization. This is the ultimate goal. Profit is the ultimate goal, why we are going to execute our idea, that is to make the profit. Now we have to get the best possible design and operating condition. We have to evaluate all those things, and then only we have to start with those. So based on that, this similarly as we have done in feasibility check, this initiation phase stage is also most of the time is done by company or owner. Okay, what we are going to get after doing this evaluation, we are going to get the process flow diagrams, functional requirements, process design, heat and material balance. So these four things are the major output of this phase. Okay, so if you see feasibility check and conceptual design, we are finalizing our feasibility. We have already validated our idea, and we have evaluated the best possible design conditions to execute the idea. Okay, so PFD, what we are going to get, functional requirement, how what are the various requirements, functional requirements, then design basis, process design basis, how major things which we are going to cover in the design, we have to list it down. Heat and material diagram, material balance diagram, this is the major outputs from this initiation phase. So this is all about the first phase. Once a company or owner is clear with these two phases, then only he will proceed towards planning and execution. Now let us see how, after evaluating and after validating the idea, how we are going to plan and execute the further stages. Now if you see planning and execution, there are many stages, 6 stages are there which we are going to cover here. Now first one is pre-feed and feed stage. As you know, pre-feed is preliminary front-end engineering design. It has very much importance during the planning and execution, mostly during planning phase. Feed and most of the time feed and pre-feed, they go parallelly, so most of the things go parallelly in these phases, but let us see if these are separate one. So in pre-feed, what is going to happen, what is the purpose, and what are the major deliverables, and who is going to do it? Most of the time if you see, pre-feed and feed stages are done by EPC contractor, engineering, procurement, construction contractor. The company or owner hire a EPC contractor to perform these two phases, pre-feed and feed phase. Okay, so what is the purpose of pre-feed? Okay, let us start with the pre-feed only. It sets basis for the design. Okay, identify major constraints, technical and economical feasibility check to allocate funds. Now here we are, once we are done with the setting of the design and major constraints are identified, then only we are done with our technical and economical feasibility check. Then we can start allocating funds. We can start thinking about allocating the fund. We know at least how much funds will be required. So this is a major purpose here. Okay, why we are doing this pre-feed? To set the design, basis for design, and identify major constraints. So let us see what we are going to get out of this phase. Final plant capacity requirement, what kind of plant we are going to set up, and what will be the capacity requirement, that all will be listed out. Material selection and specifications, all these will be listed out. Finalization of product specification, this is important here. What we are going to get out of this plant, suppose gas plant we are going to place, then what will be the final product and what are various specifications, those all will be listed down here during pre-feed. Identification of critical plant operating parameters. Okay, regulatory requirements, list of all desired products. Okay, this will be part of this only. So what are various constraints, those also will be listed out. Sizes of major equipment, preliminary plot plan. So these two will be the foundation for next stages. Okay, here what we are going to get, the product specification, what are various constraints, what are very regulatory requirements, all these will be listed out along with the main equipment sizes and preliminary plot plan. Now we know how much space we have, how we are going to set our things based on PFD which we received during initiation. So now in feed, we are done with pre-feed, we have got the list of all the constraints and desired output. Now what we are going to do in feed, to conduct various studies to figure out technical issues and estimate rough investment cost. Here we were done with all the analysis, feasibility checks, whether to allocate funds or not. Now we have to estimate rough estimates for investment costs. This is the final purpose of this feed. We have to now allocate fund. We have decided we are going to allocate funds. How much, rough estimate will be done here. It reflects client's intention and project specification, project specific requirements into the feed package. This will be the major output which we are going to get from it. This is the major purpose of doing this feed phase. Now what we are going to get, we are going to get mature documents. Here also plot plan was there, but preliminary. This is a little bit more matured. More matured PNIDs will be there, MDS will be there. Okay, line list, these will be matured one, not final one, on matured one as compared to pre-feed. Valve data sheets, general arrangement drawing for main equipment, general arrangement drawing for main pipe track, estimation of overall cost, which is the main agenda here, has ZOP reports, execution plan. All these are very preliminary philosophies, operational philosophies. Everything will be there, which will be part of basic engineering package, which will be the output of feed package. Okay, this phase will give us basic feed engineering package. So this is also done by EPC contractor, as we have already discussed. So this is a purpose, deliverables, and done by EPC contractor. So this is the planning phase which we are discussing along with execution, because we are getting some deliverables here. Now in next phase, after completing pre-feed and feed, we are going to do the detailed design phase. Okay, then procurement phase. These two things go parallelly. So we are going to cover in a single slide what is the purpose of doing this, deliverables, what we are going to get out of this phase, and who is going to do this. So again, these two stages are done by EPC contractor. Client or company, they hire some EPC contractor. Engineering, procurement, construction contractors are there in the market, so they hire them and they perform these two phases. Now what is the purpose of extracting this, doing this phase? Design detail, extraction of all essential information from basic engineering. What we have done in the feed, we extract all those data, calculations to provide the exact drawings. Now the things will get more matured based on the actual calculations. Precise bill of quantity, now we'll calculate what is the various quantities which are required to execute the thing, so precise bills we can generate. So these will be the main purposes of executing design phase. Now let us see what are the more deliverables here. Equipment list, process, data sheet, all these things we received in data sheet, basic engineering package also, but these will be more matured based on various calculations. Okay, management review, most of the reviews will be done based on design activities. For example, 30, 60, 90% model reviews will be done. Most of the audits will be done during this phase to finalize all the calculations and to review all the activities. Thermal rating, vibration analysis of exchangers, review of PIDs jointly with client, valve list, data sheets, all these things will be generated based on actual calculations. Okay, so these will be, suppose we have extracted the MTO, this will be also extracted at stage of 30%, 60%, 90%, and maybe later also various phases will be there, but everything will be final now. These will be very precisely calculated based on calculations and exact drawings. So this is detailed design. Whatever design we are going to do, we are going to do here only. Okay, so if you see, this design phase itself has all the 4 stages: initiation, planning and execution, monitoring, okay, and closure. So all these phases, each and every individual stage has its own life cycle, project life cycle. So similarly, if you see in procurement cycle, again, why we are going to do this, this procurement phase starts within this design phase to acquire the necessary products or services from the best supplier vendor at the best price and quality. Okay, quality and price, these two things we need to keep in mind while finalizing our design, while closing our procurement activities. Financial plan to manage the budget, keeping everything aligned with the client objective. So we need to keep in mind the client's objective. Okay, based on that we have to finalize our financial plan. Budget we have to finalize during procurement phase. Actual financial plan will be there. How we are going to do? First of all, we have to prepare the inquiry specification. For example, if you require an equipment or any fitting or anything, pipe, flanges, anything, whatever we require, we need to prepare the inquiry specification for that particular item. Then we need to check whether it is available with all the approved vendors, whether all the vendors who are going to supply this, who have replied to your inquiry, are available in your approved vendor list. If yes, then okay. If not, then we have to update our approval. We have to update our approved vendor list. We have to initiate another approval cycle with the company and client. We have to list out that vendor, all the vendors in our approved vendor list. Then those queries will be raised to them, and we have to analyze all these techno-commercial quotations. Technical queries will be there. We have to answer all, okay, to get up to the required specifications. List of suitable vendors based on technical and qualitative requirements. Okay, once it is done, once we have satisfied with all the queries whatever they have raised or whatever product specification they have shared with us, we are satisfied with all those things, then we have to prepare the vendor list along with all the technical and qualitative requirements. So technical bid analysis will be there, evaluation reports will be prepared, all those vendors with all the qualifying specification will be listed out, and that will be passed on to our project team, which based on our recommendation they will finalize along with the cost analysis. Okay, so based on that purchase order will be sent and product will vendor will be finalized. Then again final drawings received and documentation for review from approved vendor, from whoever going to supply us all the products. We have to review all these drawings and documentation, and we have to provide the approval for the final things. So material based on final drawings will be received at site or wherever we want. So this is the complete cycle whatever we are going to do during design phase and procurement phase. So these two things are very important and go parallelly, will be done by EPC contractor. Next and last part of planning and execution is fabrication and construction phase. If you see, once the design phase is over, procurement cycles are over, we are going to receive all these, we are done with all the calculations, we have done with all the drawing preparation and all. So all those drawings will be sent to construction site for fabrication and erection purposes. So those whatever input, whatever deliverables that we have received from design phase, procurement cycle will be used at fabrication site, at construction site. So what is the purpose of those two phases? Off-site and on-site fabrication activities of putting different elements, object together aligned with the client objective. So this is the main fabrication and construction phase purpose. Okay, structure, equipment, building and other properties of the plant will be the output from this, and this is done by contractor. Okay, maybe EPC contractor or maybe a third party. You can hire client or company owner, they may hire a contractor to execute the fabrication activities at site. So whatever deliverables we have received from design phase will be used as input at fabrication site to perform various activities. Similarly, erection and installation, if you see what is purpose of this phase in execution and planning, cleaning and preparing the space for the installation of new machine or equipment. Okay, first we have to prepare the place so that we can install a new machine, or we have to install the equipment along with their foundations. Assembling the different parts of the system by welding or mechanical joints. Okay, so these two things go parallelly while erection and installation phase. Okay, whatever equipment we have in our plot plan, in a project, we have to install it. First we have to prepare the place, then we have to install it based on all the plot plans, overall plot plans, all the civil drawings, all those will be the input here, and will be based on that all these things will be installed at site. So what will be the deliverable from this phase is mechanical completion. The activities involved in installation of equipment and piping system is known as mechanical completion. This is a major milestone in any of the project. Once it is done, we are done with the most of the design part, design, fabrication, erection part. Okay, again these two phases are done by contractor, maybe EPC contractor or maybe a third party contractor which may be hired at site. Now the last phase, if you see, will be the closure phase. Wow, what are the various things which activities we are doing in this phase are pre-commissioning, commissioning and startup. If you go sequence wise, pre-commissioning, what is the purpose, what are the various deliverables and who is going to do it. Include cleaning, flushing, drying, leak test, hydro testing of the equipment, piping system and other operating system. This is the major purpose of this phase, what we are going to get from this equipment, piping system and other operating system for commissioning. What we are doing here, whatever we are doing here will be output for this phase. We are getting the system ready for commissioning. So whatever testing, cleaning, flushing, whatever is required, we are going to do it here. Again, This is done by contractor or by operator of the plant. Okay, this is general practice. We are going to do it through contractor or by the operator or by both. What we are going to do in commissioning phase, we confirm that a facility or a process has been designed, procured, fabricated, installed, tested and prepared for operation and production. So whatever we are going to do here, we are getting the plant ready for operation and production. So whatever we are doing here, whatever changes are required, whatever markups are there that are prepared in this phase, and as builds are the output from this phase. Contractor and operator, again they are going to do this phase. Startup phase, green signal to start production. Okay, this is once we are done with pre-commissioning, commissioning, whatever changes were required, those are approved by design team and everybody, then there will be a green signal to start the production. So what we are going to get from startup phase, operating plant. Now it is in operating phase, everything is checked, tested, everything is done. So this will be now operating plant. Contractor and operator of the plant will be doing this activity, startup phase. Once we are done with that, we are done with the closure of that phase also. It is handed over to client. Either it is done by contractor or operator. So this will be now property of client. This is operating plant. So this is how we are going to complete the closure phase. So if you see, we have discussed all these 4 phases: initiation, planning, execution, which is controlled through monitoring and controlling, then closure phase, and we have taken example of oil and gas project stages, and we have divided into different phases. And all those 4 cases we have discussed. So this was all about a project life cycle, considering an example of oil and gas project. I'm sure you like this presentation. See you in the next part. Here just have a look, we have index here for all the videos available on this channel. We have 3 section: oil and gas fundas. Now today's section we have covered here only. So in this part in this section we have 16 videos, longer videos. Then we started 2-minute funda where we are covering 140 topics. In next slide also we'll get the index. Then recently we started the work culture series also, where we talked about email etiquettes, 10 golden rules, handling flaming in the emails, email subject line, formal versus casual, postscript, signature, how to write email signature. So something good about email you can learn here. Then we covered this topic where we are covering the cover letter, why it is required, what is the format, actual letter for piping designer. One cover letter we actually prepared considering 5-year experience of a particular piping designer. Then we covered one freelancing concept where we talked about do's and don'ts while creating the profile on any of the freelancing platform. Then we actually created a profile for piping designers, and we try to look into one of the platforms how many jobs are available, how we can apply and how we can get the jobs. So these are things which are available on this platform. In 2-minute series funda we are covering the topic in 2 minutes, and we have already covered more than 125, around 140 topics we have already covered. Those all are available. You can search out the funda, any funda with the funda number. Just write in the search box 2-minute funda dash this number and you will get the particular topic. Okay, so these all topics are available. Three headings are there: 2-minute funda series, work culture series, and oil and gas funda, where we are getting the longer videos. So this is all about we are having here. These are rest of the list for we have covered 140 topics. This is the index of all the videos. 2-minute funda series, these are all 2-minute topic. In most of the cases we are trying to cover in 2 minutes, but sometime it reaches up to 3 or 3.5 minutes just to cover the important points. So this is all about we are having on this platform, on this channel. I'm sure you are enjoying and learning few things. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. Keep sharing knowledge. Thank you very much.